In the kingdom, a wise and kind monarch had only one leg and one eye. Everyone in his realm enjoyed a happy and healthy life because of their ruler. One day, the king was passing along the palace hallway and saw the portraits of his forefathers. The king envisioned that someday his children would stroll through the same corridor and reminisce about their ancestors through their portraits. However, the king never had his portrait painted because he was uncertain about how it would turn out given his physical disabilities. So he invited many eminent painters from his and other kingdoms to the palace. The monarch requested a portrait of himself to be displayed in the palace and invited interested painters to come forward. He will be awarded based on how the painting turns up. All of the painters began to imagine that the king only had one leg and one eye. How can his photo be made really beautiful? It is not conceivable, and if the painting does not seem beautiful, the king will get angry and punish them. So, one by one, they started to find excuses and respectfully declined to do a portrait of the monarch. But suddenly, one painter raised his hand and said, "I would do a lovely portrait of you, which you will surely appreciate." The king became thrilled hearing that, and other painters got inquisitive. The king granted the painter permission and proceeded to create a colored portrait. Finally, after taking a long time, he declared that the portrait was ready. All of the courtiers and other painters were fascinated and frightened, thinking, how can the painter make the king's portrait lovely because the king is physically disabled? What if the monarch didn't like the picture and became angry? But when the painter delivered the painting, everyone in the court, including the monarch, left startled. The painter depicted the king on horseback, wielding a bow and squinting with one eye. The monarch was quite happy that the painter had fashioned a magnificent portrait by skillfully masking the king's limitations. The king awarded him a large reward. Moral: we should constantly think positive of others and ignore their shortcomings. We should learn to focus on the good things instead of trying to mask faults. If we think and approach optimistically, even in a negative scenario, we can address our difficulties more quickly.